Welcome to Primeval Scope, where we journey back to ancient South America, a land of extremes where life and death constantly collide. In this brutal prehistoric world, survival is never guaranteed. Every single step taken in this treacherous swamp could easily be your last. The heavy footsteps of a mother Giganotosaurus echo through the mist. She arrives just in time to greet her newly hatched offspring. Curiosity takes over as the tiny hatchling chases a bright butterfly, wandering dangerously far from the safety of its mother and nest. Suddenly, a hidden mud pit traps the young creature. The more it frantically struggles, the faster the dark swamp pulls it downward. The massive mother rushes forward, roaring in absolute desperation, but the treacherous ground threatens to swallow her whole as she steps closer. Nature shows no mercy here. The swamp claims its tiny victim entirely, leaving the helpless mother to watch her offspring disappear forever. The scent of struggle and blood quickly attracts unwanted attention. Giant ancient crocodiles begin to emerge silently from the dark, murky depths. Forced to protect her remaining unhatched eggs, the mother must turn away. She leaves behind a tragic victim of the unforgiving swamp. This little dinosaur was certainly not the first creature to vanish beneath the mud, and it will definitely not be the last. Let us rewind the clock back 100 million years. We are entering the brutal and magnificent Early Cretaceous period in history. The landscape transforms into a vast, flooded plain where lazy rivers slowly meander through incredibly lush and vibrant green prehistoric vegetation fields. Here we find the Amargasaurus, a remarkable herbivore sporting a unique double row of sharp-necked spines, peacefully grazing on low ferns. Towering above it is the massive Giganotosaurus, which comfortably feeds on the mid-level branches without competing with its much smaller dinosaur neighbors. Evolution always seeks optimization. By sharing different feeding zones, these gentle giants can peacefully coexist in this incredibly rich and bountiful environment. But this fragile peace is an illusion. Deep within the dense shadows, the true rulers of this prehistoric landscape are patiently waiting. A terrifying Mapusaurus bursts from the thick foliage. This brutal apex predator locks its deadly sights directly onto a stray, vulnerable Amargasaurus. In a dramatic slow-motion strike, the predator lands a fatal bite. Bright crimson blood violently splatters across the vibrant green prehistoric ferns. The fierce predator stands victorious over its fallen prey, unleashing a deafening roar that echoes wildly across the vast, blood-stained ancient floodplain. Yet triumph is short-lived. The ground suddenly shudders violently beneath its feet, signaling the terrifying beginning of a massive global geological shift. We witness the dramatic fracturing of the supercontinent Gondwana. The Earth's crust tears apart, completely reshaping the future of the entire planet. Ocean waters aggressively rush inland. South America becomes a giant isolated island, characterized by intense heat and incredibly high, suffocating humidity levels. The first flooded tropical rainforests are born. In this sweltering environment, a fierce biological arms race pushes evolution to absolute extreme limits. This isolated world gives rise to brand new monsters, creatures possessing terrifying sizes that easily surpass the wildest of human imaginations today. Let us closely examine the new rulers. First is the ultimate assassin, the terrifying Giganotosaurus, a beast built for pure, unadulterated slaughter. We analyze its massive skull, stretching nearly 2 meters long. This terrifying structure houses weapons perfectly designed for maximum flesh destruction capabilities. Look closely at these reverse serrated teeth. They function exactly like serrated daggers, engineered specifically to slice through muscle and cause bleeding. While the famous T-Rex possessed a crushing bite, the mighty Giganotosaurus was the absolute master of causing rapid, fatal blood loss. Its jaw structure slices cleanly through thick flesh, creating devastating, unhealable wounds that quickly drain the life from its unfortunate, helpless victims. Stretching an incredible 13 meters in length, this towering nightmare was rightfully the ultimate terror of every living creature in the continent. But who could possibly rival such a monster? A massive foot heavily stomps down, sending thick mud splashing violently in all directions. The camera rises higher and higher, revealing the magnificent Argentinosaurus, standing as tall as a modern 4-story building against the prehistoric sky. This is undeniably one of the heaviest creatures to ever walk the earth, weighing a staggering 90 tons of pure, unstoppable muscle. To move such immense bulk without sinking, evolution gifted them hollow spine bones, significantly reducing their overall weight while maintaining incredible strength. Furthermore, Their wide, wedge-shaped toes act like natural snowshoes, perfectly distributing their massive pressure across the treacherous, unstable surface of the swamp. However, the greatest threat does not always roam the land. The calm, muddy waters of the swamp hide an entirely different nightmare. Suddenly, a gigantic crocodile head, roughly the size of a modern car, violently breaches the surface. Meet the terrifying prehistoric super predator Purussaurus. This aquatic monster possessed a terrifying bite force of 69,000 newtons, easily surpassing the crushing power of the legendary T-Rex itself. It never needs to chase prey across the land. It simply waits in the dark water for a thirsty victim to approach. Fast forward to a blood-red sunset at the Wingpool Formation. The glowing sky sets the stage for a truly legendary prehistoric encounter. A small family of giant Argentinosaurus slowly wades through a deep river crossing, their immense bodies displacing massive amounts of muddy water. A young, slightly experienced member of the herd struggles against the strong current, accidentally falling dangerously behind the protective circle of adults. Watching closely from the dense riverbank, a hungry pack of Mapusaurus intently tracks the struggling juvenile, waiting for the perfect hunting opportunity. The cunning alpha predator releases a low, rumbling growl. Highly coordinated and lethal, the pack stealthily slips into the shallow water's edge. They fan out precisely, using tall reeds for camouflage. These monsters employ advanced tactical maneuvers to completely isolate their chosen young prey. The exhausted juvenile finally drags itself onto the muddy bank. It lets out a loud, desperate bellow, calling for its distant mother. Before help arrives, the pack lunges from the shadows. One predator sinks its sharp teeth deep into the juvenile's massive hind leg. The young giant roars in pain, trying to shake off the attacker, but a second predator quickly strikes its vulnerable side flank. The juvenile stumbles heavily. Its immense weight craters the muddy ground while relentless predators continue their perfectly coordinated and deadly pack assault. The earth suddenly trembles from a massive impact. The mother Argentinosaurus returns, her eyes burning with absolute and completely unstoppable primal rage. The mother violently swings her tail like a colossal whip. A supersonic crack echoes as the heavy appendage strikes a predator directly. The struck predator is instantly launched through the air, crashing violently into a nearby rock face, utterly incapacitated by the massive blow. She then raises her massive front legs high and stomps down with unimaginable force, creating a visible, muddy shockwave across the battlefield. The remaining predators are immediately knocked off balance. Realizing they are completely outmatched, the surviving pack turns and flees into the forest. Pure physical size is indeed the ultimate armor. The highly evolved hunting instincts of assassins must bow to a living, breathing fortress. As night falls over the treacherous swamp, the dynamics of survival shift entirely. New predators emerge under the cover of absolute darkness. Moonlight barely penetrates the dense canopy. A small herd of nervous herbivorous dinosaurs cautiously approaches the muddy water's edge to quickly drink. Deep below the murky surface, the giant Purussaurus rests completely motionless. Its cold eyes track the tiny ripples above with terrifying precision. With a single powerful thrust of its massive muscular tail, the underwater titan accelerates upward like a dark, unstoppable biological torpedo weapon. The water surface violently explodes. Massive jaws instantly clamp shut, dragging the unfortunate victim down into the terrifying dark depths forever unseen. The remaining herd scatters in absolute panic. Within mere seconds, the water returns to a calm, mirror-like state, hiding its deadly secrets. Dawn breaks over the vast, misty rainforest canopy. The haunting calls of prehistoric birds echo, signaling the start of another brutal day. A lone Giganotosaurus actively patrols its massive territory. It deeply sniffs the humid air, its highly developed senses detecting a distant carcass. Following the invisible scent trail, the colossal beast effortlessly pushes through thick ferns, casually toppling small trees with its incredibly massive bulk. It arrives at a clearing holding a dead sauropod. However, a vicious pack of smaller, feathered raptors is already eagerly feeding there. The giant lets out a truly terrifying roar, violently shaking the surrounding leaves. The smaller raptors scatter instantly, abandoning their stolen meal. The massive predator claims its prize. Its specialized serrated teeth effortlessly tear huge, bloody chunks of meat directly from the fallen carcass. High above the bloody scene, hungry pterosaurs patiently circle the clearing, waiting for the apex predator to finish so they can scavenge. We zoom closer, transitioning into a microscopic view. The saliva of this beast contains incredibly deadly bacteria, ensuring any bitten prey perishes. Even if a victim miraculously escapes the initial attack, a single bite guarantees a slow, inevitable, and highly painful death from infection. But environments are never truly stable. A severe, devastating drought suddenly strikes the swamplands, turning the once lush green vegetation brown and brittle. The mighty rivers quickly shrink into small, muddy pools. Dinosaurs of all kinds are forced to gather closely around dwindling water sources. Tension runs incredibly high at these shrinking watering holes. An armored herbivore swings its heavy club tail warningly at an approaching predator. Even the mighty Purussaurus becomes highly vulnerable, trapped inside a shallow pool as the harsh, unforgiving sun beats down upon its back. A massive dust storm viciously rolls across the dried plains, slowly burying the bleached skeletons of those unable to survive this shift. As the thick dust clears, a barren, cracked earth is revealed. The lush swamp era ends, making way for a harsher reality. Global climate patterns continue shifting wildly over millions of years, slowly marching toward the inevitable, tragic conclusion of the Great Dinosaur Age. Suddenly, a blinding streak of bright light violently cuts across the dark prehistoric sky. The legendary, world-ending asteroid has entered the atmosphere. The asteroid impacts the planet with truly unimaginable force. A colossal shockwave of fire and utter destruction expands rapidly across the continent. The mighty Argentinosaurus looks up at the burning sky, letting out a final, tragic bellow before the devastating firestorm consumes everything completely. A thick, suffocating cloud of ash and dark smoke rapidly envelops the entire world, completely blocking out the sun for many years. Freezing snow and solid ice begin to form over the once tropical South American landscape. A harsh, unforgiving global nuclear winter has begun. Beneath the frozen ice and settling ash, the bones of these mighty dinosaurs are slowly fossilized, perfectly preserved within the Earth's crust. A stunning time-lapse spanning millions of years reveals melting ice, rising mountains, and modern vegetation slowly taking over the dramatically altered landscape. The scene beautifully transitions to the modern-day Patagonia region in Argentina. This arid, incredibly windy landscape drastically contrasts its lush prehistoric past. Today, a dedicated team of modern archaeologists carefully digs into the dry earth. The hot sun beats down on their wide-brimmed hats. An archaeologist's brush gently sweeps away loose sand, finally revealing a massive, perfectly preserved fossilized bone hidden beneath the surface for millennia. The camera pulls back to reveal the sheer scale of the excavation site. This colossal skeleton unmistakably belongs to the legendary Argentinosaurus. A glowing digital overlay reconstructs the Argentinosaurus directly over its ancient bones, briefly bringing the magnificent giant back to life right here. Inside a modern museum exhibit, the towering skeleton of a Giganotosaurus stands under dramatic lighting, its massive jaws open in silent roaring. Curious visitors, including fascinated children, look up in absolute awe at the massive predator, highlighting humanity's enduring fascination with these ancient creatures. A close-up of a child's face beautifully reflects pure wonder and vivid imagination as they stare deeply at the terrifying ancient skull. Every grand dynasty must eventually fall. The earth-shattering roars of these magnificent beasts are now forever buried beneath thick layers of sediment. But what they leave behind are not just dry bones. They are profound testaments to the most glorious era of biological history.
It's unbelievable.
These incredibly massive footprints, permanently preserved in solid ancient rock, gracefully stand the ultimate test of time, telling stories of unimaginable power. They represent the absolute peak of evolutionary warfare, a time when nature pushed biological limits to create the ultimate living, breathing weapons. Which biological weapon from the ancient South American swamps do you personally consider to be the most terrifying and highly effective adaptation? Was it the sharp teeth, the crushing aquatic bite, or simply sheer, unadulterated size? Please let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this thrilling journey back into the brutal prehistoric world, please make sure to hit that like button right now. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to never miss another exciting, educational dinosaur adventure. Did you know that Mapusaurus is one of the very few large theropods proven by fossil evidence to hunt in coordinated packs? Also, the very first massive bone of the legendary Argentinosaurus was actually discovered accidentally by a humble local rancher in 1987. South America's unique geological isolation allowed these specific creatures to evolve along entirely different paths compared to dinosaurs found in North America. We are constantly uncovering new fossils that challenge our current understanding of how these magnificent prehistoric giants truly lived and violently died. Dedicated scientists around the globe work tirelessly every single day to piece together this incredibly complex and fascinating biological puzzle for us. Every new discovery breathes fresh life into these ancient bones, allowing us to vividly imagine a world that existed long before humanity. If you are hungry for more prehistoric content, be sure to click on one of the exciting videos currently displayed on screen. Next time, we will travel to ancient Africa to explore the watery domain of the legendary sail-backed river monster known as Spinosaurus.